Katherine, the mother of Michael Jackson, has experienced many hardships in life, such as a difficult marriage and her son's passing. As they say, life is a struggle, and the late King of Pop's mother experienced it in the same way as everyone else. Katherine Esther Jackson, the mother of Michael Jackson, was born on May 4, 1930. She had not interfered with her husband Joe Jackson's funeral until June 2018. The renowned Jackson family matriarch has been active, keeping busy with projects like writing her autobiography and raising a musical family. The public figure is still experiencing the rewards and difficulties of motherhood. Michael Joseph Jackson, her most famous child, died in his sleep on June 25, 2009, just days before he was scheduled to perform at his This Is It concert. Propofol overdose was the cause of his demise. She stated to CNN in 2011 that motherhood is the most significant thing in the world. Mothers have an obligation to be there for their children when they need them. They ought to always be present and aware of your kids' whereabouts. So when Katherine, who was only 79 years old at the time, took full custody of MJ's 3 children, she became the center of attention. She assumed the role of Paris's legal temporary guardian, lovingly referred to as Blanket, alongside Michael Joseph Prince Jr. and Prince Michael A. Debbie Rowe, the mother of Paris and Prince, also desired to be the child's guardian. Jackson and Rowe reach an agreement that allows the legendary performer's ex-wife to see her children under close supervision. The world was made aware of Katherine Jackson's disappearance in 2012. The unofficial report had been made by a family member, thrusting the reserved 80-year-old into the public eye. Although Katherine had only taken a brief vacation to Arizona, a judge temporarily suspended her guardianship of the Moonwalker children due to her protracted absence. But Katherine's disappearance upset her 3 in-between wards. Her trip seemed to be connected to a family disagreement about the singer Smooth Criminal's will. TJ, Tito Jackson's son, took on the children's temporary guardianship. A week later, Katherine took on the role of protector once more. TJ Jackson remained his cousin's co-guardian. In 2014, Debbie Rowe returned with her children because she felt they weren't being properly cared for. Still, every effort to obtain sole custody of the children was unsuccessful. Because of her advanced age, the fact that Prince and Paris, the 2 older children, are both older than 18, and the fact that TJ could care for Blanket, the 15-year-old, Katherine, the mother of Michael Jackson, recently decided against acting as a guardian for her grandchildren. The 1990 publication of her autobiography, My Family, The Jacksons, included extensive information about the famous family. On Goodreads, it was rated 3.5 stars as well. Katherine Jackson retaliates in court against her grandson. A dramatic turn in the continuing story of one of the most famous families in music sees Katherine Jackson confronting her grandson about money issues. The legal dispute throws fresh light on the long-standing conflicts surrounding the distribution of the deceased celebrity's assets. Regarding the story that has garnered public attention, pop icon Michael Jackson's estate is the subject of a heartbreaking legal battle between Katherine Jackson, the matriarch of the Jackson family, and her grandson, Biggie Jackson. Jackson. This argument exposes the complexity surrounding the King of Pop's legacy in addition to highlighting a split family. When Biggie objected to his grandmother using Michael's estate money to pay for her legal fees, the legal drama escalated. Katherine's opposition to a lucrative catalog deal with Sony, which Biggie had previously called a waste of time, is at the heart of the conflict. Katherine's filings provide a thorough response that refutes Biggie's objection with a strong case that the executors cannot in good faith contend that the estate does not have sufficient available funds to allow the trust to make the requested payment. In addition, she is criticizing the estate executors for their austerity, claiming that their cautious approach to allocating funds prevents a more substantial distribution to beneficiaries of an astounding $1.5 billion estate. Katherine goes on to say that paying her legal bills won't have a negative effect on the estate's finances. Her legal team highlights the estate's high value, claiming that paying her $500,000 legal fees would not result in loss to creditors or injury to the estate or any interested person. Reports state that this conflict involves more than just financial transactions. It also involves control and making sure that the beneficiaries are distributed fairly. The affluent estate of the bad artist, which is under dispute, did not suddenly become worth over $1 billion. The success story of the late musical legend actually tells the story of very modest beginnings. In a 2013 interview, Katherine reflected on her son's humble upbringing in Gary, Indiana, recalling a life far from the extravagance that would later define her sweet little boy's career. Growing up in a modest house and living paycheck to paycheck, young Michael showed early entrepreneurial spirit by opening a candy store for the kids in the neighborhood. This straightforward, joyful existence highlights the Jackson family's rise from modest beginnings to a mighty legacy by standing in sharp contrast to the legal disputes and complicated legacy that would ensue. The wealth that grew from this enormous legacy allowed Michael's youngest son, Biggie, to buy a $2.62 million house in 2020. This marked a significant shift from the lowly beginnings of his late father and into the affluence of the Jackson estate, signifying a new era of financial independence and lifestyle adjustments for Biggie and his siblings. Michael's children's extravagant spending patterns, which are supported by an annual allowance of $8 million, a sum that was previously revealed by a news outlet, reveal a life of luxury. This excess goes hand in hand with expensive trips, fancy cars, and large sums of money spent on personal presents and schooling. Prince's gift-giving tendencies toward girlfriends and Biggie's interest in fine dining and personal hobbies, for example, show how different their father's upbringing was from theirs. This lifestyle, supported by the estate's income, demonstrates how Michael's early years of financial hardship gave way to a life of plenty for his heirs. Regarding the ongoing legal battle between Katherine Jackson and Biggie Jackson, it should be noted that prior to the recent events, in 2017 at the age of 15, Katherine gave up her co-guardianship of Biggie to his cousin, TJ Jackson. This choice represented a dramatic change in the guardianship dynamic within the Jackson family, as Katherine acknowledged her own aging and Biggie's growing needs. According to court documents, given her own age, 87, Katherine feels that TJ is able to assume all necessary responsibilities of the guardianship for the minor child, indicating a new phase in Michael's youngest son's care and stewardship. Biggie's relationship with Prince and Paris is a strong example of a familial bond, even though his grandmother and he are experiencing increasing strain. Biggie's contemplations on their father's legacy, along with Prince's focus on the close bonds between the siblings, underscore a familial connection that surpasses the intricacies of court cases and money conflicts. The strength of familial ties, a legacy of love and shared history that outlasts the transient nature of material wealth and legal disputes, is highlighted by this enduring connection. As we previously reported on March 22, 2024, Biggie filed a lawsuit against Katherine to prevent her from using money from his late father's estate, setting off the drama in their court case. Biggie Blanket Jackson, the youngest son of Michael Jackson, reportedly filed paperwork against his grandmother a few days ago. Biggie requested in his paperwork that Katherine, his grandmother, not be allowed to use any money from the late singer's estate. Katherine reportedly wants to use the funds to file an appeal of a previous decision. It's about the belongings of her son. Biggie and Katherine had previously been allies. Their goal was to prevent Jackson's estate executors from engaging in a commercial deal. It's unclear what the transaction entails. However, it is said that the executors wanted to give Sony half of the late singer's discography. Sadly, the court decided against Biggie and Katherine, and they lost their case. Biggie has given up on the case since losing, but Katherine Jackson did not, and she made the decision to file an appeal. Biggie refused to participate in her decision and did not agree with it. In light of that, he requests that the court stop his grandmother. He opposes her using Michael's estate funds to cover her legal expenses. Biggie Jackson thinks Katherine wouldn't prevail in her appeal, even though the judge hasn't made a decision yet. Nor does he see how her continuing to fight would help the beneficiaries of the trust. He is now requesting that the court only reimburse her for the money she spent prior to filing her appeal. On X, the former Twitter, users have expressed their opinions about the matter. A user posted, blankate, or whatever your name is, that is Katherine Jackson, and her bills must always be paid. Someone else said, he'd better leave Miss Katherine Jackson alone before DNA gets called and rocks his world. Someone wrote, #Katherine is being sued by #Blanket Jackson. Not even blood relatives, they are. #Michael Jackson, how dare they? On social media, someone posted, I have no comments to make about the lawsuit that Michael's small white children filed against Queen Mama Katherine, but everyone keeps asking me to. He made this choice for you. we must begin to honor the decisions made by Black men regarding who they will grant their kingdoms to. Katherine Jackson is the only person who has given more to the world, tweeted another supportive social media user. I'm not sure why she was sued, but she deserves it. Michael Jackson's mother was a stay-at-home mom during his childhood. Joseph Jackson, a laborer in a steel mill, was her husband. There were 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a small utility room in her first house with her large family. Her children's clothes would be handmade by her. She shopped at the Salvation Army or during sales for their shoes. She would accompany her husband to farms after he lost his job. There, they would harvest vegetables, which she would later can for her family. Despite their lack of wealth, Katherine and her spouse were always prepared. They would stock the freezer with bulk purchases of meat. They'd have this for a very long time. According to Michael's will at the time of his passing, his mother would be named as their guardian if any of his children were minors. But he also wrote that he nominated Diana Ross to be their guardian in the event that she was dead, incapable, or unwilling to do so. Prince Michael Joseph E., Paris Michael Katherine, and Prince Michael Jr. are Michael's children. They are grown-ups now. Biggie purchased a house in Calabasas, California, for more than $2 million when he was 18. He loved his privacy, which is why he purchased the property. Biggie and his siblings shared an annual allowance of $8 million when they were younger. The amount grew from $5 million as the earnings of their father's estate increased. But when Biggie was 15, Katherine gave his cousin Tito Joe T.J. Jackson guardianship. In her documentation, the 87-year-old Katherine observed that she was unable to carry out her responsibilities. Biggie is close to his siblings, even though he has had some recent issues with his grandmother. He mentioned 2 years ago that he and his siblings still uphold their father's legacy. Biggie is an activist for climate change. He enjoys creating things that he thinks will be useful to others. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that suing his former guardian, his grandmother, was the right decision? For more updates, like and subscribe to our Facebook page and share your opinions with us there.